Yesterday I did a flight with an insanely overpowered rocket, trying to get a gravity turn to take a rocket into orbit of KSP or of Kerbin in KSP2 EA. And before I talk about that, I should tell you, what an orbit is. And an orbit is basically a path around the planet where the craft is going fast enough that it's just going to keep missing the Earth. The gravity keeps trying to pull it back down into the planet, but the speed keeps it going fast enough that it flies away. And it's a balance. If you go too fast, you will fly away from the planet. And if you go slow enough, the gravity will pull you back down. So you're trying to find that balance point. And the kind of joke is that the easiest way is to just fly straight up and turn right and then go really fast, and that's how you get in orbit. It is also incredibly inefficient, and so what people have come up with is a gravity turn. So a gravity turn, unlike what I did yesterday, which was muscling a rocket into orbit, is supposed to be really efficient, and you're going to use the thrust of the rocket to come up, but you're also going to use the gravity to pull you sideways. And theoretically, you should be able to put one input, just tilt the rocket over just a little bit and let it fall, and it'll take a nice easy glide path out of the atmosphere and up into an orbit, and then you can kind of goose that around until you get a nice perfect and easy turn. So I was given this tiny little rocket by Streetwind over on the KSP Forums, and it tells me it is perfect for doing gravity turn if I just follow the instructions. We're going to see if we can do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to watch my velocity until I get up to about 60 meters a second, and then tilt over about 5 degrees, and then just hold forward, which is prograde. Right here it's on SAS control lock, which just keeps it pointing straight up or in the direction it's currently going. And the last time I did this, I failed, which is one of the fun things about KSP, is you learn by failure. So we're going to see now if we can get this tiny little rocket into orbit with an efficient burn. So again, I'm watching the surface velocity. I just got to make a little adjustment over here once we get to 60 meters a second. It comes on fast. So here we are at 60. I'm going to come over just a little bit, get it to hold prograde, and it should be tilted just enough that the rocket is going to fall all by itself. There's some nice features in KSP2. They've added clouds to the stock game, which is really nice. The Kerbal Space Center is quite a bit different. You've got a lot of places that you can launch from. And I just think the game is really pretty. Rocket plumes are well done. The sound, I think, is really nice. And you can see, even though I haven't done any other inputs, I hit the D key one time, the rocket is tilting over. This looks like a lot better attempt than what I did the last time. Old Jebediah Kerman is having a big time flying up to space at the moment. So if you had watched my gigantic rocket one, I was goosing this whole time, trying to get to 45 by 4,000, which I think is possible only in the EA because they don't have atmospheric heating on right now. This has been a set profile that should probably work. If you notice here, we're under 12,000, and right now we're at 45. And so this is looking pretty good. One of the things you do there in this flight is you watch over here to see how your fuel's going, because you're going to have to stage. And that'll mean that I'll separate this lower half of the rocket, and then I'll run the sustainer at the end. You're also watching your apoapsis. This angle, there's a lot to kind of keep in mind as you're flying these rockets. So here we are. are. We're coming up to the stage. We're almost out of fuel. Rocket plume is expanding because we're getting up into really thin atmosphere. There it goes. Now we're on our sustainer. And so now I'm going to watch this to see if I can get an apoapsis that's going to go up to space. Now, unlike my trial by failure, this is still a pretty decent angle. We're very sideways, as you can see, by the angle of the flight. We're leaving the KSC far behind us. And by being more parallel to the planet's surface, our surface velocity is increasing relative to the curvature and relative to the ground. This would be like ground speed. I think, if I remember Streetwind's suggestion, is when I start getting an apoapsis of about 55, I can reduce my throttle a little bit. So we'll play with that. I mean, this could be another failure or not, but this is looking pretty good. Although, honestly, he does that, but we're so low on this ascent. I may just leave it at full throttle right now. Because I'm not sure, as low as this is, whether we're actually going to get up out of the atmosphere on this attempt. This is certainly a lot more efficient. I've done one thing this whole time besides staging the engine, and that was to hit the DQ one time. Okay, so our apoapsis at 75 is going to be out of the atmosphere. We are getting up out of the atmosphere. I want to keep an eye on this. I am going to reduce throttle, get up to 100, and we'll stop there. So we should have an apoapsis well out of the atmosphere, and it is. So then we create a maneuver plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, this is hold prograde, this would be backwards, this is retrograde, so if this is prograde forward, I'm going to tell the computer to extend, and you can see this orange line coming out here. This is the new orbital path. If I follow this plan, pull this around, now it's giving me a parapsis, which is the lowest part, and that's going to be deep in the atmosphere. And I want to pull this until I get my parapsis up out of the atmosphere in space. And realistically, what I'd like is something pretty close to my apoapsis. My current apoapsis is going to be 101, so something close to 100 would be good. So at this point, this would be an orbit because both AP and PE are out of the atmosphere. So I have 102, 101, that looks pretty good. So that would be our plan. So now the craft is still facing prograde. If we go look at it, it's still facing forward. But by the time it gets around here, the target for me to be able to make this burn correctly would be different. So I need to hold target, which is this button, maneuver. And you'll see the craft turn. And by the time it gets to the node that I've created, the maneuver node that I've created, it will actually, this target line and the prograde marker will actually pretty much line up. So we'll go ahead and fast forward to that. It's a nice new feature in KSP2 EA. After we kind of look around a little bit, the game's really pretty. Look at the atmosphere, sun, the reflections, the mountains. I mean, I just think that they've done a really nice job with the artwork. The music is, of course, great. All right, so we're going to warp to maneuver. You can watch now that target, because I moved to target, it's now lined up almost with prograde, which is telling me that it is lined up correctly. That's the way we want to go. There's another neat little feature I like in this. They've added sound to this. You get sound cues as well as visual cues. There's a little voice warning that tells you, hey, dude, something's about to happen. All these little things they've done well. go full throttle. Just watch our timer. Nice and efficient, nice and easy. And we should be in orbit. So if I get rid of that, go back and look at our map. We do. We have a parapsis of 101 and an apoapsis of 107. And that was easy and efficient. Saved a lot of fuel. Did this with very minimal effort. And so I would like to thank Streetwind over at the KSP Forums for giving me this craft. And also thank you guys for watching. This has been fun.